stroll out the door. Contented, used me, abused me, knocked down and walked all over me. Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? When we first met, I thought we were gonna be the greatest love of all time. Oh, what a fantasy. I put faith in you and you shattered my dreams completely. Used me, abused me, knocked down and walked all over me. Got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see? Now you got yours, what about me? I gave my love, don't you see?
So here we are. Welcome to World End Music Radio, and today's special guest, all the way from the US, and still rocking and rolling, we have Alfa Anderson, former Lady of Chic.
Hi, everyone. Hello, RJ. How are you?
Hey, I am great. I am much happier now. It's been a long old day, but hey, everything is good now that we have you on the show.
Oh. You.
Okay, we have a few questions for you, and I know that your fans in Europe these are the kind of questions that those fans will have wanted to ask, but were too scared to ask.
Oh.
So we're going to run them by you anyway, and we'll see where we go from there. You happy enough with that?
I'm fine with that. Fire away.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's rock and roll. When did you first start in the music business, and how did that come about?
Well, there were stages. You know, it was slow, incremental growth. I began working in some local clubs with some friends of mine that I had known back in Augusta, Georgia. And from that, I began to work with some other probably local stars around the area. But it wasn't until I met Luther Vandross that it kicked into another level. And that was a real fortuitous meeting. I just happened to be rehearsing with Lou Courtney, and one of the background singers said, "There's some friends of mine in the other room. It's Luther and Fonzie Michelle, and I want, when we're on break, let's go visit them and see if they're on break at the same time." And so I said, "Okay, cool." We went into the studio, and Fonzie and Michelle were like very effusive, hi, how are you? Great to meet you. And then over in the corner was this guy, this large guy with overalls on with his head down. And they said, Luther, I want you to meet Alpha. And he put his head up and said, hi. And he put his head right back down. I said, either he's really shy or he hates me. Our spirits are not meshing here. So about a week later, I was really surprised to get a phone call from someone. Luther wanted to know if he could have my phone number. And absolutely, I said yes, because when I heard this guy sing, and I fell in love right away. It was like, who is this? Who is this? This is what I'm looking for. This is absolutely magical. And we started talking, and we had such a rapport right from the very beginning. And I would go over to his house, and we would sit down, and he would play piano and sing, and we would try to write a little bit together. Sometimes Carlos would come over, and Robin, Crystal Davis, other people. But let me tell you, we ate. Luther and I were both big foodies, big foodies. So we would eat, we would cook, eat, and sing, and that was our introduction. And he was also he was fast becoming really big in the session work in New York, and in jingles. So he would take me on sessions, and one day he called. He says, Alpha, I have this session that I'd like for you to do. And he says, it's a friend of mine named Nile Rodgers, and he has this group called Chic, and it's disco music. And I said, disco? Luther, are you crazy? We're R&B. Because at that time, I equated disco with 122 beats per minute and very, very formulaic. So he says, oh, come on, you're going to have fun. This time I was singing pretty much as an avocation while I was really learning. And I was teaching freshman English at Hunter College. So wow. I left school, I left the college, got there, Luther was there, and David Lasley, whom I know, was there. So the three of us were there first before the other singers arrived. And Luther came in and says, okay, I want a chicken, order me some food. I came in and I sit down and I started marking papers, and David Lasley's just sitting very quietly. And the story later, Bernard says that he pulled Nile to the side and said, Nile, this is a motley crew of people, an assortment of people. Are you sure these are the singers you want to sing background on this record? And Nile, supposedly Nile said, trust me, it's going to be fun. So we went into the booth. Well, actually, before we went into the booth, we were in the control room, and they played Dance, Dance, Dance. And we absolutely loved it. And the first note, I was smitten with the music of Chic. And when I sang, I just tried to put all of my spirit and all of my essence, on that record, along with Luther and the others, I said, because I would so love to be a part of this group. Niall doesn't know this. I've never shared this story with him. He's going to know it now. Yeah. I really wanted to be. The music just took me over. It was infectious. It was classic. And it was a surprise. It was not the 122 beats per minute that I was expecting, So that was my beginning. That was my introduction based, because of Luther Vandross. And they say time and timing is everything. Well, the stars were definitely aligned.
Absolutely.
They were definitely aligned.
Excellent. That was good to know. I heard you mention there Michelle. Was that Michelle Cobbs?
Michelle Cobbs.
Yeah. David Lasley, all those guys. So it's kind of, I'm a big Chicy, and we're looking down all the footnotes on all the albums, and you see all these names coming up time and time again. And it's only now when you mention it, everything kind of fits together, everything kind of sinks in. So the fans will be listening for the names and be going, yeah, I remember her, I remember him, and all that kind of stuff. So it's great to actually piece the puzzle together.
Great.
Okay, Alpha, looking back, did you ever think that you would have the success that you did with Chic?
No, I didn't. I knew that I loved the music, and that was enough for me. I absolutely loved that music when I heard it. And if you had told me that, 30 years later?
35 years later.
People still hear this music, and it's still classic, and people still love it. Never in a million years could I have figured that out. Those types of things you can't predict. You
Right.
know, you go and you do what you do with passion and with love and with honesty, and let it go out into the universe, and then see where it takes you, and then you get joy from it.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't predict that it would have been that successful. And I'm going to tell you a short story about my mom, who after, I think it was when I became lead singer with Lucy after Norma left. I think Le Freak was one of the biggest records out at the time, and I said, "Oh, we have a #1 record," and my mother says, "No, you don't." I said, "Yes, we do, Mom. We have a #1 record." And I don't know how much you know about publications in the U.S. But there's a magazine called Jet Magazine, which was owned by the Johnson Publication Company. It's an African American publication. And so a lot of African Americans and other ethnicities, but basically a lot of African Americans read Jet and Ebony. And I said, Mama is what I call her. I said, "We have a #1 record." She says, "No, you don't. It's not in Jet." Oh, I love her dearly. She's transitioned, but I love her dearly, and I always tell that story when I get a chance to, because she just did not believe that her daughter, could actually be in something that was that big.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I appreciate the share on that one. Is it true that you developed yours and Chic's vocal style with the help of the late, great Luther Vandross?
Absolutely. Luther was a pro when it came to vocal technique. He listened to the tracks and he knew exactly what role the vocal should play, because these productions were so carefully crafted, and it was that combination of the funky rhythm, then the strings would sort of sweeten everything out, and Nile's guitar and the bass. So where do the vocals go in the middle of all of that? Where's the place for the singer? Luther found that place, and he taught us how to sing in such a way that we became an integral part of that sound. So, yeah, Luther was phenomenal with that.
The thing is that, and this is kind of like an add-on here to that question,
Sure.
there weren't the usual traditional harmonies. There was a unison throughout those vocals. Was that difficult for you to get your head around when you're going, okay, where are the harmonies in this? Where are the harmonies? Oh, no, it's unison.
It was difficult at first, but gratifying. We worked together after a while so much until we actually knew how to do it. So when you sing unison like that, everything has to be perfect. You all have to hit the note in the same space. You can hit the middle of the note. It can be a little sharp, a little flat. You can't do anything that anybody else isn't doing. The nuances have to be the same. The breath has to be the same in order for it to come together. And we learned that. We learned that working together. So unison singing is harder. People sometimes hear singing and they think it's maybe one person, and that's a testament to the work that we did, because on some of the tracks it's more than one person singing. Le Freak, it's me and Diva Gray, and of course Good Times, there's Luther, not Luther, it's Fonzie. It's Fonzie and others. I better not name names because it has been 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
So I certainly don't want to offend anybody or leave anybody out. But we really learned to do that, we learned to do that well, and we learned to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So you had to learn how to listen to the song and know what your particular strength is and what could you bring to this sound